it's written from the point of view that you are a poet who romanticizes Cubban Park. Cubban Park is a very famous park in Bangalore. So those who are from Bangalore, I hope you guys will relate. All right. 300 acres. Cubban Park is 300 acres of green stretched across the city's heart, keeping Bangalore snug and warm like a hand-knit sweater. 6,000 trees. Cubban is home to 6,000 trees, all of them constantly chattering in hushed whooshes, exchanging eavesdropped conversations, sweet nothings by couples, family gossip, friend drama, impractical dreams, and startup ideas. 30,000 feet. This iconic landmark rolls out the green carpet for 30,000 feet. And somehow, despite the crowd on Sundays, a lonely heart can manage to discover its twin. 1 million firsts. Those brown pavements are sprinkled with 1 million firsts. Your first friend could be sitting on a bench, hunched over a book, missing the joy of having someone who would listen to them geek out on rom com tropes. Or maybe the book that is supposed to change your life is nestling somewhere in the shelves of the State Central Library. Or maybe it's your first poem that's waiting to jump out of your rookie palms, or your first mistake that would haunt your favorite spots until it finally stops hurting. A whole bunch. There are a whole bunch of things to do in the daydreamer's haven, but this poet personally recommends tiptoeing closer to your lover when nobody's watching, bump your nose against theirs, and plant your first real kiss. Karnataka High Court being your only witness, and maybe the dead ghost of late Lord Cubban, who I'm sure would be thoroughly amused by watching two people on a very British park falling in very Indian love. Quite a few nicknames. Bangalore's lungs have quite a few nicknames. Pretty much like a kid with an unpronounceable name who changed schools before she even finished doodling her rough notebook. A handful of escapes. The It Garden of Garden City has hands full of escapes. It breathes while the rest of the city is covered in car smokes. It walks while the rest of the city waits for red lights to turn green. It waits while the rest of the city either arrives or goes. It reads while the rest of the city practices apathy. It remembers while the rest of the city forgets. It shelters art while the rest of the city embrace AI. It is free, all 300 acres of it, while the rest of the city continues to divide infinitely, not a single square foot left without a price tag. It remains the same, while the rest of the city multiplies at cancerous rates. But most of all, it persists like a heart trying to live in a body that's trying to kill itself. Cubban Park is an indie singer with a ukulele, gently humming this concrete jungle's softest desires. And that's the end of my piece.
Yeah. Very good, Lana. You write very well.
Thank
It
you.
was very, very interesting and very informative also. We came to know this area of Cubban Park, number of trees, everything. So beautifully written and so beautifully narrated also.
Thank you.
Parna?
You're a very good performer, Lana. It was very evident the way you are performing. This is obviously not your first rodeo, and a very good one at that. I really liked how you described Cubban Park. While I'm not in Bangalore, I lived pretty close there at one point in time. So I have visited Cubban Park on multiple occasions, and I've found it, a lot of it, to be exactly the way you described. The rest I didn't find because I don't live there. But I'm sure I would have if I would have found it. It's one of my favorite places to go to in Bangalore every single time. I don't visit Bangalore too often these days, but whenever I get a chance to be there, I make sure I'm at Cubban Park for at least half a day, if not more. So that is this poem. I mean, it resonated with me hugely, to say.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
yeah, it was lovely. It was very well written, and I'm very curious about your first poem too. So please do send that to me. I would like to read it very much. Yeah.
Anisa?
So Lata, Lana, sorry. I'm hearing you for the very first time. You are an amazing orator, and the best part about you is the eye for detailing that you have. You know, noticing each and everything, and the use of images, the use of verbs and everything was totally on point. Very well written.
Thank you. Thank you.
Usha ma'am?
Lana, it was wonderfully written. And the imagery used, the poetic diction, and the figures of speech used by you, and the way you were, the adjectives you have used to describe Cubban Park, and the 1 million first, and indie singer like with the ukulele, all such usages are really rich here. Then, and the way you have presented it, the narrative style, everything is wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now
Actually,
we have three performances
I
left.
would want to add to
Sure, I think one of you should do that because we have three performances left and we have got
yeah,
only 10, 12 minutes. Please.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just could not stop myself. Lana, very, very beautifully read. I mean, it just shows what a keen observer you are. For any form of art to be beautiful, it has to be filled with those minutest details that we all observe in our day-to-day life, but we are not able to put it words that beautifully. So, and I never imagined that somebody could personify a park this beautifully. And the contrast that was there between the commercial city and the park that is free of cost, it was beautifully. It was very, very striking. It was music to the ears, and it was extremely evocative. I've never been to Cubban Park, although I've stayed in Bangalore for a year, but I've never been there. But it was so evocative, so imaginative that I could imagine each and every scenario that you were so beautifully describing. So congratulations! I just could not hold myself. I had to say this.
Okay, Ranjit, please. Briefly, you can say, please.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that it was beautiful and it sounded very similar to the way Ruskin Bond writes. Like I've grown up reading to Ruskin Bond. So Ruskin Bond is a person who kind of actually expresses Himachal Pradesh and the Himalayas and all of that in a very beautiful manner. And I was able to picturize myself in Cubban Park while you were kind of performing. And that is like not easy. Like, and writing a poem is one part, but also being able to kind of orate it or tell it with a lot of empathy and emotion is another thing. So you have both in you, and you should definitely consider this as something really serious. And also it was very simple. The hand knitted sweater and all those kind of metaphors were amazing. Loved it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening so intently and giving me the feedback.